The following movie is rated R.
Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's been a minute since we done another one of these thoughts from the benches. I had to do it old school, take it back to around the way with it. But I had a lot of thoughts on my mind. And this one is gonna be a quick thought about body positivity and fat shaming and its legitimacy. So first things first, we're gonna talk about its legitimacy. Is there such thing as fat shaming? Yes, there is. All right. Is it unfortunate? Yeah, I mean we've been dealing with that since we was kids. You know what I mean? Now the question is why is that? Because it's an abnormality to a degree. And what I mean by abnormality, depending on how big the kid is. I mean being big isn't abnormal per se. What I'm trying to say is that when anytime you stand out physically, that's why like they used to have stories about girls when they developed early, they got teased. I used to hear stories about that. Not particularly like I could remember in the hood and nothing, but like you know, you read stories and you hear stories discussing stuff like that, right? And that's just because the kid is gonna single you out for the thing that you stand out most for. And it's kinda expected, so on some level it's like how offended can you get about something like that, right? Kids are kids. They gonna single you out by your differences and then make a bigger deal out of it. So yeah. But more so now if we take it a step further and we say, alright, well, if if a kid, I don't know, like wears a stupid hat or stupid shoes or big shoes, they're gonna get teased on. It's just a thing. So as a physical thing, if you come in extremely bigger than everyone or physically different than anyone, someone's going to stand, it's going to stand out. Now in terms of the world that we live in today and social construct, in the world of film and superheroes, is the most agile and aerodynamic person isn't going to be a big or obese person. You could create a character to that degree, but they'll power set will probably somehow, usually it's always centered around their physicality. So if they're big, they'll be the big guy, the big girl on the team. So it's very seldom you usually front run a obese character or a big character. That being said, because it kind of makes sense. I mean, most superheroes fight, do all these other type of stuff, and also something that people tend to forget is about the supermodels. To be honest, if you look at anything predating, like I'll say around like the 60s, girls were just regular. They weren't uber thin. They were just regular. A lot of times, if you even go a little bit further, much further, I'm talking about Renaissance, they were thick. They had rolls. That was the idea of beauty at that time. People didn't work out that kind of way so that you're targeting certain muscles. Like the big guy wasn't really always cut up. They were just big because they were big because of what they physically were doing. You know what I'm saying? No one really went out of their way, was doing crunches back then. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't really a thing. Now, that being said, if we move forward now, the reason why I raise the question for its validity is because there's something for everyone. If you've been to my IG, you know I post these ladies in sections now. Like even when before I was doing that, I post all different types of chicks. It really just didn't matter, you know, just whatever I liked. You know what I'm saying? And I like them all sizes. You know what I'm saying? So I personally don't have a discrimination towards it. And most black men and Latino people, they don't really have an issue with that. That's never really been a realistic issue. That's what we will always take. And my point being is it that big girls do not get any kind of play? That's a lie. In the hood, they get play all day long. Now, we could go into the demographics of it in terms of the lower income people because there's stats and studies on it, and I don't want to get wrapped up into that part of it, but there are study cases that, you know, water seeps its own levels. Most people will date within their own circumference, what they can do. You know, it's not about, oh, that was the one that you always wanted, not per se, but that was the one that was available to me. and I could go pull. So, and to be honest, most guys, if they're real honest, will tell you that they're attracted to bigger girls. Now, for some people, is a question is how long will that be attractive? I mean, if you're huge and going into like marriage, it's not good. It's not healthy. It's not a healthy, sustainable lifestyle forever, especially if you want to be romantic and sexual. And I'm not going to say being big into your 70s can't be sexy, but I'm just talking about in a general principle. It's just going to be a lot difficult to bring for the milkshake to bring the boys to the yard. And that's just life. You know what I'm saying? We all deal with it. Men deal with it. You know what I mean? A big guy is going to know why he couldn't get the girl, but they don't make it a civil rights issue. The thing is women are trying to make it a civil rights issue and trying to really dick police what men may just like as a personal thing, and that should be their own right to. But the cusp of this thought today at these benches is it real that big girls do not get play? And that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know how you know? You could go into Pornhub. Go into Pornhub and type in BBWs and you see a wealth of videos. You think I'm lying? There's people looking for big girls. Now, a lot of women will say, but they don't walk, it's more like a fetish. So, some guys fetishize slim girls. You don't mind that, you don't have an issue with that. Some people fetishize, I don't know, feet. Is there something wrong with that? Like, you know, everybody has a thing that they like. Now, if you're saying, oh, that now there is a thing, I'm gonna be fair, there's a thing where guys don't want to step out into the open a lot of times with their girl. I've seen that. And I understand that because they think they'll get clowned by their other boys. But that's on them because they're not secure, and that's where your biggest issue is. Guys that love you as much on the Pornhub and behind the closed doors, can they love you the same way in front of everyone? Now that I will say, it will be a big issue, because if they don't hug up on you the way they do when you at the house, then that's not for them. They still are not secure with what they like, and that's on them. That's not your issue. I think what the issue with most women is that they expect some level of praise and pedestals to be put upon, and I'm sorry to say, in the general world, generally speaking, that's not going to be realistic. The reality is that, and we'll talk a little bit more on it, is that everybody has things that they like. Like, look, man, I didn't post up, I didn't have my thick girls, so some of my girls would just be a little bit beyond thick. I'm not even gonna front. They'll be big girls, some good looking big girls, whatever. But they be bad though. My big girls be bad. But the fact of the matter is I look at the likes. I'm had weeks where most of the likes to the girls that I put on was the big girl. Was the girl that you wouldn't even expect. You'd be surprised how like look at my page some weeks, the weeks that I drop them. Look at who gets a lot of the likes. And a lot of times I'd be surprised. I'd be looking at it, I'd be like, whoa, she got more likes than everyone out of it this week. Whoa, that's kind of surprising. Because the story is that they get no love. And my point being is that's bullshit. It's what's in your head, and it's what you focus on. And the fact that, unfortunately, because of the size you are, it's not going to be the front runner of a superhero flick. It's not going to be the front runner per se of walking the runway, because until like after the 60s, when the birth of the supermodel, they needed very, very thin models. Why? Because it wasn't about the model, it was about the clothes, and they wanted to hang and drape like a hanger. And all of a sudden that somehow evolved into being the status quo, you know. And higher-end fashion people started really using them, and it just became, after a while, when they graced the cover magazines and they're wearing all the flights and top shelf outfits, and eventually they will become top shelf. But hey, man, that's just what I'm thinking. But like I always say, man, I treat these thoughts like bullets, and these bullets ain't got no names. I just take aim. Only hit dogs holler. Scream if hollering ain't enough. Loud.